Ah, yes, the poor college student look. We meet again. Hello guys, I'm going to try to keep it short and sweet because I have to be up at 6 in the morning. Today I am going to be talking about the episode in Once Upon a Time called The Stable Boy. Now, I have to make a couple quick points that I just want to bring up. Number one, Catherine is alive. What the hell? Was not expecting that. Two, we found out that Mr. Gold is actually working with Regina to take down Snow White because he's trying to get heat taken off of him. I'm guessing for the incident that happened with Belle's father, but that is yet to come. It kind of implied that, and that's what I'm assuming. It didn't expressly state it, but that is my assumption. Next, we found out that Regina's hate for Snow White stemmed from something that Snow White unintentionally did to her. I think it was unintentional. And we found out that Regina was in love with somebody before she met the king, and her mother is a crazy, psychotic biatch who can also take people's hearts out and killed her boyfriend. Okay, so in this episode, we found out that Regina was seeing this guy who worked in the stables, and her mom is kind of crazy and psycho and likes magic, and her dad is a little passive and seems kind of like a pansy, and there are some other words that I'd like to express for him, but this is a slightly PG-13 rated channel, and I don't want to bring it to rated R anytime soon. And Regina seems like she's a pretty nice person. She seems like she's genuinely good. And her mother kind of just pushed her off the deep end. Snow White is on a horse, is riding by, and the horse kind of is going crazy. Regina saves Snow White. Snow White then goes and tells her father, the king, that this lady was next to her, and then the king wants to marry her because he's horny. And then Regina is like, okay, I don't want to marry this guy, and decides that she's gonna go and just run off with the stable boy, and they're gonna do their thing. But Snow White catches them kissing. Regina explains to Snow White that she's in true love and explains true love to Snow White, and Snow White doesn't really get it, but then she does because she's really perceptive for her young age and is told, don't tell anybody, especially my mother. And later on, Snow White is trying to help Regina, and she tells her mother, and her mother loses it, kills the stable boy, and then ships Regina off with the king to bring up their status. And while I understand why Regina doesn't like Snow White for this incident, Snow White was like a baby. She was very young and did not understand the concept of true love, of keeping secrets, and of crazy magic wielding bitches. And I think that Regina's anger and hate is misguided, and I honestly don't understand why she hates Snow White so much because of something little. And Regina has said in previous episodes that when you have such intense love taken away from you that you will do crazy things, and that's kind of how she's tried to justify Snow White's actions against Catherine. But now that Catherine is alive, there's going to be a little bit of a dirty soiled water in the soup incident going on. That was a really weird metaphor, and that's all I could come up with at this hour, and I'm tired and I'm kind of sick as I'm sounding congested and the back of my throat hurts and it feels like it's on fire. So please just bear with me right now. That I think that it would have been so much more intelligent if Regina had just gone and killed her mother or poisoned her in her sleep. Like, when the genie came around, why didn't Regina just take the snakes and kill her mother and keep the throne and like just wait till the king knocked off, and then she could have the entire kingdom and she wouldn't have to go about it in a bad way, and Snow White would probably still respect her, and she probably would never have to deal with any of the crap that she's dealing with now in Storybook. And I feel so intensely that if she had just killed her mother, either right then and there or later on when she got more power, that things would have been so much easier for her. Her anger and hatred would have been gone, and I think that things would have just been nicer. And again, I know that Genie said that he can't bring anybody back from the dead, but if Regina had convinced him to use his magic to like maybe transport her back in time so she could like get her boyfriend and then bring him forward in time or something, like some Doctor Who stuff, I don't know. Like, I think that it would have been so much easier again to just kill her mother and not hate on Snow White, who didn't mean to do anything. And I understand it, but I feel like it's almost a weak plotline, and while I get it, it just is like, it more just makes the queen look crazy than someone that I really want to care about. And I feel like this is a turning point for me, because I really liked Regina and I had a lot of hope for her, but now it's like, I feel sad for her because she's so mentally unhinged over this incident that happened. And I feel like there should have been something more intense that Snow White did to her. But it's, again, it just makes her look crazy, and it doesn't make me like want to like her. It just makes me want to feel sad for her. And so I don't know if this was a negative point in the queen experience for me, but it definitely wasn't a positive one. Though I will say that I looked at her positively in that I really don't think she's that bad of a person, and I think that she has a lot of respect for people around her. It's just now she's mentally unhinged and nothing can really fix that. And I think she's almost as bad as Rumpelstiltskin at this point. And I kind of thought that before, but it wasn't really confirmed until this episode. So this episode made me sad, and I really liked it though. I enjoyed it, and it was nice to have a plot that involved the queen, and I feel like I haven't had enough of that, and I would have liked this episode so much earlier on. And I think I have to say this, I feel like I would not be so upset about this episode if I had seen it within like the first 5 episodes, because then it would have set up a lot of context for me, and I don't feel like this was such a big, huge, giant reveal that it needed to be this late on. I feel like it spent the whole season building up, like Snow White did this horrible, awful, terrible thing, and then it's kind of a little bit of a letdown to me. Like, I was really hoping for something really intense, and I feel like this wasn't. However, on the flip side, I think that it built up so much that since it was kind of disappointing, it's almost like she has made a molehill into a mountain, and it almost is like a sad, what's the word? It's almost pathetic. That's not really the right word. It just makes you feel more sad for her than if Snow White had like killed somebody that she liked, or like intentionally told the king to get something bad happening to her. Like, I feel like this episode almost was that turning point of Regina is not just terrible and awful, she is crazy, and she used to be so sweet, and that's what makes me sad. But I like the episode on a whole, and I am excited to see what happens next. Since Catherine is alive, I totally wasn't expecting that, and I'm really hoping that Mr. Gold gets caught for being involved in this whole incident with Mary Margaret, and I'm really hoping that the next couple episodes are good. And I'm kind of worried for Emma's sake, because I feel like something bad's about to happen to her, and that's just kind of a feeling I get from the way that the show is building upon itself. And I also have to say this, I was over at Jacob's house and I was watching the TV on and off throughout the night, and I know who August is, and now that I know everything in this episode, like the things that he has been saying in the last couple episodes, like it all makes so much more sense to me. Like the little keywords that they have included into his dialogue to kind of hint at who he is, it's funny to me now. But I know who August is, and I'm kind of disappointed that he's not the essence of Walt Disney, and I'm hoping that the essence of Walt Disney will show up somewhere in this show, because I'm waiting for it. I'm waiting so hard for him to show up somewhere. Or Mickey Mouse. I really want Mickey to show up somewhere. I don't know why I'm so hell-bent on this, but I want one of them here in this show. So I just wanted to get all that off of my chest, because I feel bad not telling you that I saw it, and then I found out, and it was totally an accident. Jacob's trying to convince me that's not what I saw, but I know what I saw, and I know who he is, and that's all that really matters. So I'll see you guys all again next week with another review, and I'll see you guys all again tomorrow. Hopefully I'm feeling a little bit better in the next couple days. I'm just kind of feeling down and upset for a number of reasons. But being sick is one of them, and it just kind of is draining me. So I'll see you guys all again tomorrow. Peace out. Take a mouse. Whoa.